it's Kate from the Literary Apothecary, and today is Wednesday, so we're doing another book review Wednesday. Today we're talking about Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames. This is book 1 in the band series, and I am so excited to talk to you all about this book. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and I absolutely loved this book so much. So our short summary of this book. A retired group of legendary mercenaries gets the band back together for one last impossible mission. One of their daughters is trapped in a city besieged by an enemy. The band sets off for one last mission, and now they used to be the best mercenary band in the country, in the Wyld. Now they're old, retired, fat, drunk, and they're getting back together to save one of their daughters, and this was so funny, so good. It had me laughing throughout the whole thing. I loved the 80s band references. Y'all know that 80s is my favorite music, and I loved the references so much. Like I said, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It had a great story. It had great characters. It was funny. It was heartwarming. This book to me was like the guilty pleasure, kind of like the equivalent to romance books for women, but for men instead. Yes, there was grunting, there was swearing, there was lots of, manly stuff, but it was so fun. It was so funny, and I can't wait to read book 2, Bloody Rose. There was, like I said, 80s music references, there was monsters and magic, and it was just so much fun. My favorite character was Matrick, who is now a king to a woman who is basically waiting for him to die, and he's father to a bunch of kids that aren't his kids. And he was just so lovable, so funny. Each of our band members has kind of their own signature weapons, and he's got 2 basically throwing knives or swords that he's named. And Matrick was just so much fun. And spoilers, this book had so many fake deaths in it. It was like every time I thought a character was gone, we said goodbye to Matrick at least 2 or 3 times in this book alone. And we said goodbye to Clay once, who fell off the cliff, and somehow they just kept staying alive, even though we thought they were dead. And so that was just insane. The end with the big fight at the end was crazy. They're at the city where the daughter is, and they have to fight their way in, and people keep coming out, and finally they reach it, and it turns out that there's one daughter there, and then Clay hears the voice of his daughter, and it's just like kind of a cliffhanger, but kind of not for book 2. It wraps it up, but it still leaves you wanting more, and it was just so much fun. So now let's get into some favorite quotes, because I've got a bunch here. Clay had not always been a good man, but he was certainly trying, and that really is Clay. He is a good man most of the time, and he tries to be always. It's as unreliable as a barbarian librarian. Mook laughed at that, but when no one else did, he looked genuinely shocked. Despite the ugly sentiment, the kobold's words carried no animosity at all, just plain old wishful thinking. Clay smiled like a man who'd won first place in a contest. A voice gone cold and sluggish as a river in winter. Then again, if something sounded ridiculous in your head, then voicing it aloud rarely did it any favors. And the last quote, so quiet the wind stopped to listen, so compelling the mountains strained against the shackles of their roots. And so one last thing in this review, since I didn't get out a bibliotherapy video this week, I've got some bibliotherapy recommendations for Kings of the Wyld. First of all, humor and laughter. If you need a good laugh, if you're lacking some humor in your life, pick this up, because you are bound to laugh your head off. Also, fatherhood. Almost all of these characters in here are dad. Well, I'll say 3 out of our 5 main characters are fathers. And it really teaches you about the love of a father and fatherhood and just how far a dad would go for their kids. And it teaches you about friendship, that this is a big found family book, which is one of my favorite tropes, and I've got a video coming very soon about found family and what it means to me. But these guys have been friends since childhood, and they're now back together at an old age, retired, and ready to fight again. So friendship and found family, and also grief. So Moog loses the love of his life, and he's grieving throughout this book. And it teaches you about grief too. And so that's my review for Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames. Like I said, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I'm going to have a live show with Jessie at the Bookish Mom, I think this weekend. I will put the links to all that in my Discord. If you've read this book, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Come to my Discord and talk to me about it. I've got a whole channel set up for Kings of the Wyld. I can't wait to talk to everyone about it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. As always, my Patreon and my Discord information will be in the description below. Keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back. Bye.